Hey, welcome to Mineral Talks Live, the weekly live webinar that brings you in-depth and in-person interviews with the mineral people from around the world. Mineral Talks Live is brought to you by a joint effort among the Mineralogical and Geological Museum at Harvard University, the Society of Mineral Museum Professionals, and Blue Cap Productions. Tune in every Wednesday and stay connected to your mineral world. Now, broadcasting live from beautiful Honolulu, Hawaii, the land of aloha, ukuleles, and shakas, this is Mineral Talks Live. Good morning to all of you from wherever you call home in the world. Today is November 4th, the first Wednesday in November of 2020. We'd like to welcome you to another great episode of Mineral Talks Live, the weekly mineral talk show broadcasting to you live every Wednesday. I'm Brian Swoboda, president of Blue Cap Productions, and obviously I'm having a real hard time talking today. But anyway, for today's show, we're going to head back out to Europe, but this time we're headed to the home of the largest Gothic cathedral in the world, Il Duomo di Milano, or as we like to call it,
correct.
The Milan
Duomo di
Cathedral.
Milano. Perfect.
See, thank you. Grazie. But first, a little bit about our show. Mineral Talks Live is a weekly webinar put on by myself, representing Blue Cap Productions, Dr. Raquel Alonso Perez, representing the Mineralogical and Geological Museum at Harvard University, and Dr. Eloise Gaillou, representing the Society of Mineral Museum Professionals, also known as the SMMP. For these shows, I'll be broadcasting to you live from Honolulu, Hawaii, while Raquel is live from the other end of the country in Boston, Massachusetts, and Eloise, as usual, is bopping all over her home country of France and broadcasting from somewhere out there. Now, we share this information with you so that you understand that you're part of a global show, and it's your participation that helps to make this show what it is. How can you participate, you say to yourself in a somewhat quizzical tone? Well, that's a great question. Let me go ahead and tell you. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see a series of buttons. There's one button labeled Chat and another labeled Q&A. The chat feature allows you to type messages to everyone watching and participating in the show. You'll see that many people like to fire off a hello in the chat when they first sign on. We love this as it shows us where you're from in the world. So don't be shy. Give a shout out to your city. Now, during the interview, our guests now will be focused on our conversation and not really looking at the chat window. However, both Raquel and Eloise will be very active in those chats. So look for their comments along with everyone else's. At times, either Raquel or Eloise may interject during the interview with questions that you're asking so we can get an immediate answer from our guests while they're still on the topic. Now, the second way to interact is with the Q&A function. This allows you to submit general questions that we'll try to answer at the end of the interview. So to recap, immediate questions, use the chat. General questions, use the Q&A. And finally, about 40 minutes into the program, you may see a window pop up on the screen asking a bunch of questions for a weekly poll. These are questions that we carefully curate for each guest. So come on, play along and let's see how well you know your guests. Now, also, occasionally, we like to have a special prize for our viewers. And so this week is no exception there. So you're going to want to tune in at the very end. I'm going to give you clues on, or instructions rather, on what you can do. And then you can win. There are going to be two winners this week. You can win these fabulous mineral crystals from our guests today. And speaking of our guests, today's guest is one of those magicians who takes an earth-stained hunk of rock out of the ground and turns it into the wonderful work of art we all love to drool over. You may have seen him on past episodes of What's Hot in Munich with the mineral world's own James Bond. And I'm speaking of course, Mr. Hart, Mr. Alan Hart. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the founder of Nimeral Mineral Labs in Milan, Italy, Emanuele Marini. Emanuele, how are you, my friend?
Hello, good evening. Well, good evening for me and good day for everybody. I'm good. Thank you so much. Living now the crazy situation of the COVID in Europe that is getting tough and tough. So we see, I see that France and Louise is already locked down. We are going to be locked down probably since tomorrow in a slightly different way than the first one, lighter supposedly, but still with some difficulties. But luckily, we will be allowed to work. So that's fine. That's okay.
That's great. Well, we're all hoping that everybody in the mineral world stays safe and stays secure. Now, are you in your office right now or are you at home?
At the moment, I am in the showroom of my office, yes, the meeting room of my company, my new building.
And where is your company within Milan or Milano?
The company is located on the east of Milano at about 10 kilometers, 12 kilometers from downtown, and is about 5 to 10 kilometers from the Linate airport. So I would say a little bit northeast of the periphery of Milano, downtown, yes.
Now, Emanuele, why are you located in Milan? Is that where you grew up, or give us some information about why your company is based there?
Well, my home is located not so far from here, and so I developed all the business initially in my house, actually in the basement of my house. So I built a small laboratory and a little showroom to develop my business when I was about 18 years old. Since then, I changed the size of the business and it increased. So I had to move at the very beginning to another small warehouse nearby my house. And then I went a little bit farther over, closer to Milano and closer to the airport and the motorways to allow also clients to find me easily and to have a better logistic also for shipment, etc., because in the very beginning, my place was quite small and the big trucks for deliveries and pickup were not easy to reach. So then I decided to look for a bigger facility. And last year, I purchased, at the beginning of last year, actually during Tucson last year, I purchased a much bigger company with a much better logistic, a much bigger building with a much better logistic that is about 7 to 8 kilometers far from my house. So I would say that first motivation is the nearby my house, the distance from my house, logistic, and then also because Milan is my own town, so I prefer to stay here.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Now we see you all over the world. We see you in Munich, we see you in Saint Marie, we see you in Denver and Tucson, everywhere. But before we go too deeply into what you do there at the lab, tell us about how you first got interested in minerals. You said you started a company when you were 18 related to minerals, but then it kind of changed from there. So kind of dial back the clock for us and tell us how you got started.
Okay, well, the very first input was given by my mother because she was collecting minerals on the field. She was a field collector.
Really? Wow.
Well, yeah, she was very young. So she was part of some paleontology groups at the university. So she was joining these groups for the trips that they were doing in the classic Italian localities for fossils. But then she got interested also by minerals. So then she went to Elba Island to dig for pyrites and hematites in the 60s, in the 70s, kind of this. And when she figured out that I was also attracted by these objects, she started pulling out dusted boxes full of old boxes full of dust and altered newspaper by the sulfides. And she was pulling out these crazy pyrites and hematites that were all glittering and living. You know, the hematite from Elba is oligist. So it's giving you, whenever you touch it, it gives you, it let fall some particles of hematite and lets you glittering all the hands, etc., etc.
Right.
So I started just because she introduced me with this, I would say, self-collector, not nice, but self-collected specimen that we still have in the collection. And so then when she understood that I was very attracted and very active, she brought me at very small shows, small local shows, and we were buying little things. She was buying for me as to start a little collection. And this process started when I was quite very young. She started to pull out rocks when I was 8 years old. Okay,
I love it.
Then when she felt that I was a little bit more mature, and this is a big word, mature for me, because I'm not yet mature, I think.
No, I was gonna tell our viewers that.
Yes, exactly. So she started to bring me also to dig. So we were going in a small locality here nearby Bergamo that is called Selvino, and you find little quartzes loosened in the ground that were originated by some veins in the sedimentary rocks of Dolomites, and they got loosened with the weathering of the rocks. So you can go there and dig in the ground and find these little doubly terminated quartz, kind of Herkimer diamond style, let's say. Not as good as the Herkimer diamond, but still a nice thing to enjoy one day digging and get totally dirty with mud and scratches and whatever, you know. So we started with that, and then after these little trips that we were doing, we went also underground in old mines, etc., etc. So this is how it started. So everything started because of my mother.
That is fantastic. Bravo, mama. Now, as a brand new papa to little Diego, what are your thoughts about minerals and mineral collecting for future generations? I mean, are you passing it on?
Well, due to the first lockdown, he was the first lockdown was in March and April. So he was about 3 months old in April, March, April, yes. And I was bringing him in the office because anyway, I had stuff to do. And my companion was also coming to the office. So I put in my little boy hands beautiful tourmaline from Brazil. And I said, okay, I let him play with the tourmaline. We'll see what is going to happen. And I was sure he was going to drop the piece. Instead, he started to appreciate the colors and touch the crystal, of course. So this was the first experience. And then, of course, every time he was coming to the office, I was showing him the cabinets, explaining, even though he doesn't understand anything now, I think, still now. I was showing him all the colors of the fluorite and tourmalines and celestite, you know, or whatever is colorful and nice. So I think that I don't know what is going to happen in his mind for the future. I hope that he will like to collect minerals and he will follow my business, but he will take the decision when he will be old enough to take his decision. So if he will follow me, I will be very happy. If not, I will be happy as well. So there's no problem. Well, in general, going back to your main topic about young people joining the business, I think it's a very important topic because we need to attract young collectors and or I can say also young dealers that will help growing the business, and also they are fundamental to let the business go on, you know, because as you can see, the most of the crowd that is running around mineral business in between clients and dealers are getting, I would say, aged, me included. So, but so my interest also is to introduce new clients and new people in general that might also just be passionate people that ask for little things to start the collection at a very scratch level. So to me, it's very important.
I could say for one, I can personally vouch that you not only talk the talk, but you walk the walk. And I want to acknowledge what you've done for the Keiki Mineral Club. And the Keiki Mineral Club is a little mineral group that Eric DiCarlo and I started to kind of feed the passion of kids here on Hawaii. And you have always been so generous because in your trimming, there are lots of pieces that come off when you're creating one of your great pieces. And many times you've brought those pieces to the shows and you've given us flats and flats of things that you would normally throw out for us to give to the next generation. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah,
really,
it's my pleasure. It's my big pleasure, and actually, it's since 1 year that I'm keep telling you I will ship, I will ship, I will ship. I have one crate that is getting filled with leftovers of trimmings, and so potentially by Christmas this year, 100%, I promise you, you will receive another shipment with gifts for the Kiki Club guys. Okay.
You are incredible. Thank you. And you've said it live, so we're looking forward to a great Christmas.
I will do. No problem.
Wonderful. Now, Emanuele, mineral repair and reparation can be a bit of a hot topic, as some people claim that what you're really doing is you're altering reality to fit our aesthetic sensibilities. Talk to us a little bit about this from your perspective of the kind of work that you do.
Okay, so I start from one important point that is about myself. I am a collector first, then I am a laboratory specialist and a dealer. So me as a collector, I like to have, of course, nice specimens with very good balance in between crystals and rocks. And when it's needed, I like to have a specimen that is repaired, because with the reparation and the processes that we do in the laboratories, we allow one specimen not to be trashed, but to be held together, put together, and still alive. It's still alive. It's not that one piece is broken, you throw it away. Mm-hmm. Because in my opinion, the way of collection, the way to make a collection is also because someone has very interest in the conservation of these little jewels that we are collecting, okay, that are the object of our collection. So in my opinion, the most minerals we can save using our techniques in the laboratory, the better it is, not only from the point of view of making business, but also because my main criteria is that every single specimen is unique. Even though, for example, we have millions of fluorides all over the world, millions of specimens of fluoride all over the world. Each specimen, even though it's coming from the same pocket as other specimens, is unique. So in my opinion, the concept of keep them together with us, it's a basic concept. So I try to do all whatever is possible to keep these specimens on the ground, not underground again when you trash them. Okay, so this is one thing very, very important in my opinion.
Now, the critics would say that you, or they might accuse you of altering specimens to pander more to the high dollars in the market by making it something that nature never would have created. Maybe you could address that. Okay, so this is a very good point of view. I'm talking for myself and my business, okay? So my philosophy is to process specimens respecting the natural aspects of the specimen itself. I am not willing to alterate the shape of a crystal, the color of a crystal, the sizes of a crystal, the luster of a crystal. So that said, I am a laboratory, I own a laboratory, and my employees are following my philosophy to be very conservative, okay? Because I don't like to have specimens that are extremely or altered in general from their original aspect. I'm not talking about removing iron stains or secondary minerals incrustations or trimming the matrix to expose in a better, to give a better balance of to the specimen, okay? So this is my way of keep the specimens the most natural as possible, okay? So this is my philosophy, okay? And people that say that I might change, or they say the mineral laboratories might change
the natural aspects. Well, it depends from their point of view. I have an idea, you have an idea, and each person has a different idea. So what I can say is that in my laboratory, I am keeping the most as possible the natural aspect of the specimens itself, being very conservative, very, very conservative.
Wonderful. Thank you. And speaking of your laboratory, why don't we go into your laboratory right now? And we have a series of videos that we're going to play. And I think for the first one, there is some audio, so we'll listen to that. But then maybe for the subsequent videos, you could narrate what we're looking at and what you're doing. And this is showing people from a general perspective, the steps from when you get a piece till it's in its finished stage, ready to go on the shelf of mineral dealers.
Okay, sure.
All right, let's go with the video here.
Hello, everybody. And I have prepared a selection of celestite geodes coming from Madagascar. And today I would like to focus on this one in the middle. And I will show you how to prepare it, because this specimen has a beautiful crystal just in the middle of the geode with a very unusual habit. You might be able to see it. Okay. It's a really unusual habit, quite big, because it could be 5 centimeters, maybe 6. And it's a pretty good quality also. So let's see how it will turn after the trim work.
All right. So, Emanuele, that is, where is this from, first of all, the Celestine?
Well, these celestite are from Madagascar.
From Madagascar.
Yes, this is the famous deposit of Majanga in Madagascar.
Okay, let's go on to the next video here. And this is you trimming the piece. And maybe you can describe what you're looking for and what you're being cautious of.
Okay, so in this video, I am using a diamond saw that is working also with some water to avoid the dust. And I am making some surface cut on the exterior surface of the geode in order to expose the area of the pocket that I am willing to trim into a beautiful specimen.
Okay, let's go to the next video. And this is after the cut, and I think you're breaking it off with the screwdriver here.
Yes, exactly. After cutting the piece, I usually open this kind of geode just with making a very, very soft level on the matrix through the cut with the little screwdriver. And very carefully, I open the geode to analyze also what is on the other side that I have removed. And then I decide how to go on with the work, because this kind of work, the trim work, is done, of course, at the very beginning, you have the idea, but during the works, you might have to change the idea because you see something that is not what you were expecting. So this part of the work is very, very important. And you have to do it extremely carefully and be very, very be very observative in what you're doing.
Okay. All right. So already we see that huge difference when we see the geode, and then when you break it off into, after you've sawn it off, it kind of takes on a completely different life there.
Yes. Now, in this video, I open up completely the geode, and I am observing the main crystal and the specimen itself, using my imagination to understand what could be the final result. Okay, and this is a very important moment because I'm working with my imagination to understand what is going to be the specimen at the end, to also evaluate the next step of the work to do.
Now, I think it's fascinating that at this point, we're already starting to focus on that main crystal in there, which you saw at the very beginning, but we couldn't see until right now, and so it becomes more and more apparent to us. But you had the visualization from the very first step. Let's go to the next video here, and here it's a gentle rinsing. It looks like.
Yes. Celestite is a very temperature sensible mineral, and in general we rinse the specimens with the room temperature water, and I have determined the room temperature, the temperature of the water in advance, because I have the heating machine that we can set with specific temperature. So I always try to match the room temperature with the water temperature to avoid any shock, any thermal shock, to avoid, of course, cracking, etc., etc. When this is not possible, I have big bins of purified water sitting in the laboratory for weeks, and then we use that water that is, of course, at the same temperature of the air in the room. So we avoid entirely the thermal shock issues. Okay.
Now, is it any special kind of water? Like, is it distilled water where all the minerals have been removed, or is it non-chlorinated water, or is it just basically tap water?
In this case, it was just basic tap water, but usually to make next stages like chemicals and other cleaning that are involved in water, we do use purified water.
Purified water. Okay.
Water, yes.
Let's go back to, this is, to me, a fascinating step.
Yeah,
and this is a time lapse.
Yeah, that's a time lapse. Maybe it's going to last less than a minute, but I can tell you that this time lapse was taken in about 1 hour of trim work, okay? In this sequence, I am removing all the parts that are useless for my, let's say, final result. I'm removing all the damaged crystal of the excess of the matrix, and slowly we are arriving to the final result in terms of shape of the specimen.
Now, the tool that you're using, it's like a vibrating point that can just kind of cut through the matrix there and anything that you need it to cut through, it looks like.
Yes, this is a pneumatic pen. I call it a pneumatic pen. It's like a little jackhammer that works with the air compressed air. And these tools are coming from the fossils preparation world. Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. So you've borrowed from the fossil world to create a set of tools that you can use in the mineral prep world.
Yes. And the tool was adapted to the minerals because, at the very beginning, at first, I have to say that this is one of the 15 different pneumatic tools that we have in the office. I think there are 15 or something like that. And each one has a different power, different thickness of the tips, different lengths, because for each work that we need to do, we have to have the appropriate tool with different power, different size of the tip, different weight also of the tool, because imagine that you have to work for like 1 to 2 hours on the same specimen with a heavy tool in your hands. At the end of the work, you will not be able to open up your fingers, you know. So we have to have different types of pneumatic tools.
Emanuele, show us your forearms. How big are your forearms?
Not very big. They're okay.
Okay.
You know. Well, it's also a problem of focus of depth of the camera. So they might seem bigger, but they are not.
Well, the camera always adds 10 pounds. Okay, let's look at this next video here. What are we looking at here?
So this is a video that was actually supposed to be before the other one. Anyway, so this is my explanation where I am focusing and understanding which is going to be the sides of the final piece. Okay. Studying where I will have to go through in case I will need to remove some part of the geode that are hiding some crystals or are affecting the aesthetic and the balance of the specimen itself that is going to be eventually trimmed from this geode. Okay, so I was with the fingers, I was basically showing this. Now I'm showing the size that is going to be approximately the final size. And anyway, doing this process, I was also focusing what kind of trim work I would have be able to do, and in which rate of danger for the specimen, because trimming a specimen, even though it's a soft specimen, because celestite is quite soft and the matrix is soft, is always a danger, because you have always to try to imagine what is going to happen if you're going to hit that spot of the rock, or the mother rock of the matrix, because time to time the matrix has some internal fractures that you don't see at first sight, or you have maybe already fractured the surfaces, or maybe there is just a layer of sand, like in this case, that is slightly softer and will create some issues during the trimming. So it's very important to analyze and observe in generally all over the specimen, from the crystal side and also from the matrix point of view, from the back. So I always study everything. Me and my team members, we are used to check properly and study the specimen before any lab work to be done on it.
Okay, so it sounds like at that point you're really starting to refocus your strategy in extracting the best mineral. And as you go along the different steps, you're constantly checking and seeing if you have to alter your strategy based on things that you're discovering as you're opening the piece up.
Exactly, this is correct.
Okay, all right. Let's look at the next video here, and it's a washing step.
Yes, so this is the final step, okay, where I am using, I'm washing the specimen. This is not the very final step. This is the step before, because I'm using tap water and to remove the dust and the soap, the greasing soap that we use to clean the specimens. And this specimen, before to be finished, will be washed with distilled water, with purified water, to avoid any leftovers of drops or something else, because time to time the water, when it gets dry, leaves some crusts of minerals that are into the water, like calcium or silica, something like that. And this will create some not nice spots on the crystals that then it might be difficult to remove.
Now, is this any kind of special soap, or is this the soap you wash your dishes with at home?
No, this is a mixture of different soaps, and the base is industrial degreasing soap to remove all the leftovers in general, of anything that went on the piece during the trimming, starting also from the water that is contained in the basin below the saw, that is not just water, but is water with a lubricant to allow the disc of the saw to flow in a better way, not to get stuck in the rock when you are trimming.
Okay.
And this is a little bit fatty water, let's say. So that's why we use the greasing soap.
It's fete water. What did you say? What was that?
Yeah, it's not clear water. It's get a little bit how do you say, greasy.
Greasy.
It's
okay.
Oily.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, and then I think the final step is what the finished piece looks like now.
Yes, exactly. That's the piece. This is a video that has been taken in a cabinet nearby the light, to show the beautiful color and the luster of the specimen. And if you want, I can open the cabinet that is behind me and show you live the specimen.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's take a look at that. I mean, this is incredible. This has gone from that geode that we saw at the very beginning, all the different stages, and now look at it. And it looks like it has almost zero matrix on the back. So this whole crystalline assemblage just kind of floats in space there.
So this is the specimen how it is now. Okay. It's a very beautiful crystal, quite gem, very good luster and good color. And I left a little bit of mother rock, okay, as you can see, because I don't like to leave only the crust of celestite, okay? I like to keep a little bit of mother rocks because I like. It's part of the specimen, and I don't like to remove it entirely, okay? I don't like just to have a very thin crust of like maybe half an inch of celestite without mother rocks behind. So this is my style. You see, I'm quite conservative, even though I made a big trimming that reduced the specimen from like 35 centimeter into something that is maybe 12 centimeter wide. Anyway, I like to keep some characteristics of the deposit that is the mother rock.
I love that. And it is so incredibly generous that that's the piece that you're going to give away to our viewers today.
Okay, so there's no problem. I'm going to send you the bill, no problem. After the talk, we will talk about that. Easy. Just going to cost you $1 million.
Put it on my account.
Okay, easy. I'll do that. Easy, easy. I know.
No, this is an incredible piece. Now, Emanuele, being serious for a moment, the pieces that you are going to give our viewers are similar to that. So maybe you can share those pieces with us on camera now.
Okay, so this is a little miniature, a little jewel featuring two very nice crystals with complex termination, okay? Of course, damage-free, no dings, from the same locality, okay? This is about, I would say, 3.5 centimeters. So it's a small piece, but very nice. I don't know if you can see it. Okay.
I think I see Raquel and Eloise creating new accounts for themselves and signing in.
Okay, beautiful. And then there is another specimen that is slightly bigger, featuring 3 crystals, okay, in the middle of a nice matrix with little sparkling crystals all around, okay? The color is slightly deeper than the other one. And the crystal size, I would say, is about 3.5 centimeter, and the piece is about 5-6, okay?
Fantastic, beautiful.
Okay.
Now, did that come from the same geode, or was it one of the other geodes?
No, this is one of these two are coming from another geode that I trimmed a few days ago. And just to let you know, from the same geode where the nice piece that I showed you is coming, I have trimmed and I have isolated at least 3 more specimens. So let's say it's not that one geode will produce only one specimen, but usually I try, and my guys try to save the more as possible of the geode, because we don't like to waste again. So
now, when you get a geode like that, do you identify the primary specimen, and your first job is to get that, and then once that's removed, you re-examine it and see if there are secondary or tertiary specimens get out of the piece?
Yes. Well, most of the times when we have geode, we try to isolate and to understand how many very good specimens can be trimmed out. And then we work to obtain the main piece, or the 2 main pieces or 3 main pieces from the geode. And then all whatever is left around, anyway, we process and we keep it either for gifting or to make a wholesale. So we try to save everything, okay?
Fantastic.
Because
wonderful.
We say in Italy that of the pig, you don't waste anything. So either gift.
We'll remember that. Of the pig, you don't waste anything.
Either samples for make some tests for the cleaning or other things. We keep almost everything.
Fantastic. Great. Okay, Emanuele, we've just gone through a bunch of videos showing the process of what you do. I have a bunch of before and after kind of photos and videos that I'd like to share. Is there any order, and excuse me, guests, because we haven't had time to rehearse this, but is there any order in which you'd like to show those? Or are you just going to, we've got some autunites, fluorites, and a couple pieces that we've talked about earlier. What do you want to show next?
We might go with the autunite, then the fluorites, and the other one, okay?
Okay, let's start with the autunite. This is a autunite on tourmaline. Well, why don't you go ahead and tell us what we're looking at?
Okay. So this is something that happened to find, and I'm grateful to have handled this piece. This is probably the finest meta-autunite crystal on tourmaline ever found until now. This is coming from the Alto da Golconda mine, and the pocket was found, if I'm not wrong, in December 2017 or something like that. This specimen is, as you can see, a super lucky specimen because it has a very nice tourmaline, and just in the right place, in the right spot, a beautiful meta-autunite crystal. Okay.
And so, what kind of glue did you use to put the meta-autunite on? That's a joke.
Well, I tell you, it took some years to have the autunite crystallizing on the tourmaline. And we used some technopolymers from the space industry to attach it and to produce it. Okay.
Okay, so this is our before shot. This is how you received it, correct?
Yes, this is actually. I went in Brazil to look at the material, and because I have been involved in the purchase of the pocket. So I went in Brazil to check all the material and to make the inventory. And when I saw the piece, I was like, what the hell is going on here? This is like insane. This is the best thing ever. At first sight, I was desperate because, as you can see, the right crystal has a missing termination. Okay, and I was very desperate. So this is not possible. We have the autunite on the right spot, in the right piece, everywhere. This is perfect, and I missed the termination. So while making the inventory of the material of the pocket that was including big matrices of clevelandite and lepidolite, and then also loose crystals and all whatever was coming from the pocket, the first crystal that I picked up was the termination of this crystal. You will never believe. I just picked up one crystal and I said, oh, this I know where it goes. And I found it. This was the first crystal of the pocket that I was able to match it on the piece. I was like, okay, now I am relieved. Big relief. And I was most likely very happy because this specimen completed with the termination is something that we cannot lose. It's unique. And I said, okay, that's it. Okay, I'm done.
Fantastic. Okay, let's take a look at the after picture and look at that. What a difference. Can you tell us real quickly what some of the steps might have been to go from this to that? Okay, so
basically I had to make extremely gentle and specific cleaning using chemicals to avoid to damage and to alterate also the meta-autunite. Okay, So this was a very, very long process, and extremely, how do you say, difficult to do, because the autunite crystal is attached on the tourmaline by a very, very thin layer of cookeite. And cookeite is a secondary mineral that occurred in the pocket. Okay, so basically the autunite is attached to the tourmaline through a thin layer of cookeite. Okay, so I had to preserve and I had to avoid the detachment of the meta-autunite from the tourmaline crystal, and this was a little bit tricky, but at the end I was able to do that, and as you can see, the result is very, very good, and I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, you should be. Fantastic job. I mean, here you could see the broken termination on the small crystal, and here you can see where you had found the crystal, as you described earlier, fixed it. You could barely see the repair. Looks like right about there. And so I know we have a video of this, so let's go ahead and play the video so that people can see this in 360. And look at that piece. That is an incredible piece. That just jumps out at you. So great job. Let's, okay, we've got another, I believe this is, oh, this is going to be interesting. Okay, this is a video, another autunite with tourmaline. I believe it's the same location, Golconda?
Yes.
Okay, let's go ahead and let's take a look at this.
This is a video of a secret specimen that nobody know about until now. And we consider this one as the second piece ever as meta-autunite with tourmaline and indigolite, tourmaline, lepidolite, and clevelandite. This piece went through the same procedures of the first one, and the video that you see is has been taken in Brazil when I was taking the full inventory of the geode, of the material of the pocket.
This is great because I look at this and I'm not quite sure what I would do with this thing. There's so many angles and so much to look at, and it almost looks like there isn't anything that can be done. Can I show the next video to show the finished results?
Yes, of course.
Look at that piece. That's the same piece. That is just, it's mind-blowing how that previous piece is the exact same piece as this prior to the cleaning and the trimming, and just a fantastic piece. Crazy piece.
Yes. Now, if you want, I can show you the piece live because I have the specimen here.
Of course, we love to see things live.
Let me also take the torch. Okay. I don't know if the torch will be. Okay, hold on a second. I have someone helping me to reduce the power of the torch. So this is the specimen, as you can see. It's a beautiful cluster of indigolite tourmalines, okay? And just to show you slightly the color, maybe from far.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Very, very far, you just see the color. That is like fantastic, okay? Okay, it's all complete. This specimen has no repairs, nothing. It's all pristine, okay? And on top of it, there is the beautiful meta-autunite, okay? You see?
Fantastic.
And for this specimen, we decided to mount it on a clutch mount, okay? To have the best view, that is this position, where you can see the tourmalines and the autunite also. And I just show you how it looks like the clutch mounts that we do in the laboratory, because we do not only clean minerals, but we prepare them also for the display in making bases and also clutch mounts. So this was, you see the clutch?
Oh, I
You
love
see
the
it?
clutch mounts. That's great.
Yeah.
And that's custom designed for the piece.
Yeah. These things we do directly in my warehouse. I have a small room underground where we solder, we cut, we solder, we paint, and we put the gummy things to avoid ruining the specimen. Okay, so this is another piece of art. This is handmade to help the natural piece of art. Okay.
Well, I'm glad you stopped using the gummy bears on the end there, because those were a little bit distracting. But I like that gummy black tip, because that looks a lot more professional.
Yeah. Thank you.
Now, can I go ahead and show the big piece? You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah. You can just send the first picture, and I will talk about everything.
Okay, so this is a fluorite from Pakistan.
Yes, this is a beautiful piece from Pakistan, and as you can see, this is a picture of the moment of when it has been purchased in Pakistan.
Absolutely incredible. And the next shot is what the hell is this? This looks like a shot from Willy Wonka. What? Dries Goban, what the hell are you doing there?
Ma, qu'est-ce que c'est? Je suis téléporté. I've been teleported from Mauritius, I think. I'm in the lab. Hey, Mano.
Yes.
What happens? I was watching the live talk from Mauritius from my computer, and I'm now watching the live talk live.
Now you are part of the live talk.
Really? Hey.
Hey, that's great.
I was a little surprised. I'm here in Milano. I'm stuck. But let's talk about rocks. After 8 months in Mauritius without playing with any rocks, without doing nothing, I'm here. I could escape the island, so that's fun. So indeed, that was a big piece I could buy almost a year ago.
This was a year ago it came out. Okay.
Yeah, a year ago in Pakistan, in Peshawar. And I was lucky to be able to buy that piece. And that is a very important piece, of course, from Nagar, Hunza Valley. And since I'm very good friend with Emanuele, I said, okay, I'd like to work on that piece with you if you allow me. That was the very first for me, because I've been destroying a lot of rocks when I was a kid, trying to trim and clean everything, but I don't have that skills. I'm good in other things, but not in trimming. So I said, okay, Mano, can you teach me, or at least can I play with you and work with that rock? And so that's what we did. I came to the lab and he allowed me to work on it with him, and it was great. So this is a photo of the piece before, even before cleaning. And we are.
I think I got another shot maybe after trimming. Yeah, that's after it's been trimmed a little bit.
Yes, that's the first trimming. You can see there's a lot of dust on the fluorite already. So we stole with a small, very handy diamond disc. We trimmed out a big part of the matrix. And then I wanted the crystal to be on the top of the matrix. So that
was that trimming done in Pakistan, or did you ship that somewhere?
No. I shipped everything. I shipped the piece as it was from Pakistan with a bunch of my stuff, and then so nothing was done. Not even a cleaning in Pakistan. So we did everything in the lab. We started from scratch in the lab. So that was.
Let's take a next picture. Excuse me. Let's take a look at the next picture after the trimming. And this looks like Emanuele hard at work doing that.
Emanuele was doing what you've seen earlier on the Celestite with the same tool, with the pneumatic jackhammer, like a little jackhammer. He was removing the big part of the back of the matrix that we didn't need, and then also like to trim it down and then make the matrix smaller, and so the big crystals stands out on top of the matrix.
Great. And then after that, this is the finished piece.
Yes. As you see, there's the stain. There was some iron stain at the bottom of that matrix. If you go back to the first picture, that was removed by some chemicals, and then Emanuele removed all the muscovite that was on the back of the matrix, so we don't see any more matrix on the back of the crystal. So it's like those big crystal on the top of lepidolite, of muscovite, sorry. So the piece is pretty stunning, and that crystal is about, if I remember, 15 centimeter on edge.
Wow. And so was this piece in Tucson this year?
Yes, it was on display. It was on display at the Westward Look, and then sold at the Westward Look.
Fantastic. Killer piece.
Yeah, great piece.
Terrific. Thank you for sharing.
I give you back, Emanuele.
Now, Emanuele, we have some other pieces we're going to take a look at. We are getting close to the end of the show.
I'll watch the live talk live next to him, right?
You got it, man. You got it. Good to see you, Brice. So, Emanuele, I'm going to ask Raquel to go ahead and launch the poll. And I'm going to hope that people can hang around a little bit longer, because we're, as usual, we're going to go a little over. But you're going to want to learn how to get those fantastic pieces that we saw earlier. So let's keep going on the kind of show and tell here. We've got some more pieces from Golconda and some pieces from Cruzeiro. What would you like to show next?
I would suggest to go with the Golconda to finish the blue parentheses. Okay. And then we go with the other colors.
Beautiful. Okay, so this looks like another meta-autunite.
Yes, this specimen was found in the pocket before of the great pocket with the tourmalines. And as you can see, the crystal is a beautiful crystal, well developed, and is perched on a little cast of mica that is cookeite probably, and the cast is after a tourmaline that got dissolved. Okay, again, another very lucky piece that we found in a pocket before of the great pocket of tourmaline.
Very
and cool. Safety, very conservative cleaning. If indeed, as you can go back to the previous picture, you can still see the iron stain on the cookeite, because the cookeite color is not that brown. Usually is more creamy. Okay, so I just clean the piece very conservatively.
That's a nice decision, and there's no right and wrong. I think it varies depending on who's doing the work, and I like your choice here, where you chose to leave some of the staining on to kind of create that added contrast there that really makes both parts of this pop out a little bit. So, good job. Tell us about this guy.
Okay, so this is probably one of the finest tourmalines from this pocket. If I'm not wrong, the crystal was about, the main crystal actually is a burst of 4 crystals. That's about 15 centimeters tall, if I'm not wrong. And this was most likely almost pristine. Okay, it had only a few little repairs, and each repair was fit lock. And of course, the matrix was a little bit wider, and I decided to reduce it to give more importance to the tourmaline, of course.
To the tourmalines. Great piece. Great piece. Ooh, look at this one.
This is another jewel. This is not very big. The main crystal is about 11.5 centimeter. And this is a beautiful piece and quite unique, because it's a burst of tourmalines with an elongated tourmaline perched on the side and the little flower of clevelandite on the left. So and the little spots of lepidolite all over. So you have a beautiful specimen, extremely balanced, extremely lucky, because again, we were able to find in crystal fitting on the burst. And of course, every tourmaline is a fit lock. Every repair tourmaline is a fit lock that is only a one-way fitting. Okay, there is no tricks or nothing.
No,
so
I think we have some
basically,
videos here. This
Yes.
is that same piece. So let's take a look at this video so people can really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at the luster on that. It's crazy.
In this pocket, we had different qualities of tourmalines. Some were having a great luster all around the crystal, and some other had a luster that was a little bit less important on the back. This is due to interferences during the growth or alteration due to some hydrothermal fluids or let's say other happening during the formation of the crystal. And this was a very, very, very lucky piece, extremely lucky piece. And
we're very lucky to have seen it like this. This is great.
Yeah, this is great. And again, I was very, very happy to be able to repair this specimen back as it has been built, let's say, created by the nature.
Very cool. And then this piece, holy cow.
This piece is a specimen that we didn't had ready for the publication on the mineralogical record about the mine Golconda, the issue Golconda. And this piece we called the Supernova, because it's literally is an explosion of crystals, okay? So the specimen is, it's a burst, entire burst, two bursts of shorter crystal with deeper color, where they are, let's say, literally exploding longer crystals like stars. So we decided to call it Supernova. And the beautiful lepidolite crown that is on the left side makes the piece extremely special. Note that this specimen had a little attachment on a matrix on the back, like in a surface that was probably 3 centimeters, like maybe a little bit more than a square inch. And we were struggling to find the original spot on the matrix where it was coming from, but we couldn't find it. And so anyway, we kept it as a floater. Most likely is a floater because really it has the attachment that is a €2 size coin.
Absolutely incredible. Emanuele, I'm going to jump to the next one, and it's not because we don't want to see it, but it's just we're running late on time, and I want everybody to see this. This is a piece that you call the sailboat, okay?
Oh, yes.
All right, here we go.
This is a beautiful tourmaline called the sailboat, that we call the sailboat because at the end the trimming came to this shape. During the trimming we came up to this shape. And it's a beautiful tourmaline with, it's not bicolor, it's multicolored tourmaline because we have cranberry red, then we have green, then lavender, then fire red on the tip. And this is coming from Morro da Cruzeiro, and it's a pocket that we recently purchased, me and Brice together. And we are now starting to process the specimens after the intensive work of matching the crystals with the matrix, okay? Because as you, and most likely all the collectors knows, unfortunately the tourmalines are found most likely detached from the original spots. And due to the fact that we like to see what Mother Nature created, we like to play putting back together this crazy 3D puzzle. And time to time, this process of putting back together the 3D puzzle might take 1 to 2 years. So now we are just at the beginning of this project. So we will see what is going.
The zoning in that main crystal is absolutely incredible.
Oh yes. The zoning of that of this pocket is fantastic. Is intense. The colors are not pastel, are very intense, bright. The change of the color is like net. You see, from cherry red we go to the green, then lavender, then the tip that is extremely bright and beautiful color.
Yeah. It will probably come as a big relief to you to know that the Paris School of Mines has perfect lighting for that piece. So if you want to make a donation, please don't hesitate.
Okay, we will think
Thank you, Brian.
Okay, I think I got to show this, and this is going to be the last piece we see. This is called the V, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And as soon as people see this, I think you'll understand why it's called the V. But take a look at this one and tell us about this, Emanuele.
Yes. Okay, so this is, again, a picture taken in Brazil during the inventory of the material coming from the geode. And this is a specimen that probably is the #1 of the pocket, okay, for aesthetic, balance, color, and also integrity. Because from this specimen, there are probably only 3 crystals repaired, maybe 4. Okay?
Wow, that's very unusual.
And straight fit lock with no filling, nothing, like as we say.
Wow. You're so fortunate. Now, this is the same piece after you've done your work on it.
Yes, exactly. This is beautiful. Yeah.
Just look at that blue. I mean, just incredible color. I imagine the luster is every bit as high as I can imagine it to be just looking at the photograph.
Yes. And again, this pocket had a fantastic combination of porcelaneous clevelandite that was extremely fresh and extremely well preserved, and lepidolite with a fantastic bright color, and the tourmaline that is pure indigolite. So,
oh wow! And then the final piece we have to show here is a video of this piece.
Yes. This is a video taken in my former laboratory in the yard at the sunset time with the sunset lightning. It's insane. The color, the real color is in the natural light is this what you see. It's fantastic.
And it's funny, Emanuele, when you sent me this, I almost didn't want to show it because I felt it was just overly artificially saturated. But the more I sat here and looked at it, the more I looked overall. And while the color of the tourmaline seems oversaturated, I look at the coloring on your hand and it's not that saturated. So it tells me that it is as bright as we're seeing it there. And I'm sure the lighting helps. But that is truly just a stunning mouth-dropping piece.
And I can tell you that most of the tourmalines, they slightly change their appearance from natural light, especially at the sunset light, and the aspect in the cabinet. Okay, because natural light has a different spectrum than the artificial light, and this is the real color. Well, it's not that the color that we see in the cabinet is fake, because this is it, but this is in the natural environment. Let's say.
Yeah, this is representative of what you saw when you filmed it, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly, and this is very, very accurate. The video was very accurate.
Fantastic. Emanuele, we're at the point in our show where I'm going to ask you the 5 questions, and if you've seen the show, you know what we're doing here. So we've asked all of our viewers these same 5 questions, and what they're trying to do is they're going to guess how you're going to answer these 5 questions, okay?
Okay.
And so this is a little bit of get to know Emanuele Marini. At the end of this, we're going to tell people how they could win those pieces, and then I've got a couple follow-up questions at the very end for you. So are you ready?
Let's go.
Let's go. Okay. Now remember, there are 2 answers that I'm proposing to you, and just gut reaction. You got to choose one or the other, okay?
Okay.
All right, here we go. Best James Bond, Sean Connery or Sean Connery?
Connery, Sean.
Okay. We will accept that answer.
Okay, Sean Connery.
Favorite food, steak or seafood?
Seafood.
Seafood. Drink, wine or beer?
Wine, of course.
Wine. Okay. House in the mountains or cottage by the sea?
Cottage by the sea.
Really? Wow. Okay. All right. I would have gone with the first answer, but hey. Final question. Are you ready? Are you a little bit country or a little bit rock and roll?
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll. Okay. Eloise, let's see how everybody answered. Are you ready with the answers here?
I am ready for the answers.
Okay.
Indeed.
Number one, best Bond, Sean Connery or Sean Connery?
He's gonna be missed, Sean Connery. Yes,
Yes.
he had such a great career. So thanks for doing that question because he deserves it. So
Absolutely. So we lost, for those who don't know, we lost Sean Connery this past week, and really the best Bond and such a loss to our art community. So Emanuele, you answered it correctly. All viewers, you answered it correctly. He was incredible. Okay,
I see that I made some. Let's say I confused the ideas with the house on the mountain and cottage by the sea. Most likely,
you confused nothing. You're
I
confusing
confused
me
you.
now. Okay.
No, because I tell you, I really love to go fishing. So up on the mountains, I can always go and hunt for minerals in the mines, whatever. In the sea, you can go fishing when the sea is flat and has to be very bright weather. Okay, so if I live on the sea, I can decide when to go fishing or not.
Emanuele,
As I can go.
he's
Too much
overthinking it. He's overthinking it.
That's why I said it had to be a gut reaction. So we recorded your original answer, and we're going to stick with it. Okay, 2, food, steak or seafood?
Seafood, yes.
Seafood, excellent, yes. And Emanuele was teasing me by sending me photos of all the fresh seafood he and Brice picked up yesterday. It looked fantastic.
Oh my God.
And going into question number 3, wine or beer, what did our audience say?
I think people got that Emanuele is European, so they went for wine, not beer, obviously.
It's like, absolutely, wine. If you were paying attention at the top of the show, Emanuele loves his wine. And I think yesterday he said it was a Chardonnay kind of day. So number 4, despite what Emanuele is saying after he answered the question, what did the audience say about house in the mountains or cottage by the sea?
The audience said house in the mountain. So first answer was the best, right?
Okay, so that's right. So that answer was the first one people got incorrect. So far 3 on the upside, 1 on the downside. Final question, a little bit country or a little bit rock and roll?
A little bit of rock and roll.
A little bit rock and roll, right on. Okay, congratulations all you viewers. You know you're Emanuele Marini. Okay, so now...
So can we play now? So we're going to play, right?
Absolutely. Everybody... And this is actually legit because neither Eloise nor Raquel, nor even Emanuele for that point, knows what to search for right now. I'm the only one I came up with this slide right before the show started. So in order to win those great crystals that Emanuele shared with us at the beginning of the show, there are going to be 2 winners. So you have to be, let's say you have to be the 4th person with the correct answer and the 7th person with the correct answer, okay? And so you got to type your answer into the chat box, and we'll see who comes in 4th and 7th. And what you have to do now is you have to go to Nimeral.com, and you have to find the 4th service that they list that they do on the website and type that answer into the chat window right now. In the meantime, I'm going to ask Emanuele a question. Emanuele, in your opinion, and we like to ask this question of a lot of people, what makes a great mineral?
Okay, so at first, I would say the color, and then the shape of the crystal, the quality of the crystal, and then the balance of the specimen. I'm talking about as objective criteria, not talking about different mines, etc., etc. One specimen has to be beautiful because of the color, shape of the crystal, luster, transparency, and balance with the rock, with the model rock, with the matrix.
Interesting. That's really, to me, that's very interesting, because I don't think I've ever heard someone put color as the first criteria. And you're not wrong. I mean, that's what you feel, you think. And I love the fact that, you know, it makes me kind of think about that, that you've listed color as the most important criteria, and you are in the job of sculpting these things or finding the natural beauty and bringing it out and presenting it to people. So it's something about color that really resonates strongly with you. And when we look at some of those videos of the tourmalines that you shared with us, I mean, it's clear that color is a very important part, especially with that one with the autunite, and how you left the staining on it. Color makes perfect sense to me now that I think back on it. So thank you very much.
Most welcome.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's turn it back to Eloise and Raquel. Do we have answers for the question? We need person number 4 and person number 7.
If I got it right, I think we have Eric de Carlos, so your neighbor. That would be the 4th.
Was he number 4 or was he number 7? Because number 4 gets the big piece and number 7 gets the smaller piece.
Number 4 was Eric.
Was Eric, okay.
And number 7 is Steve Boney.
Steve Boney. Congratulations, people. Emanuele, we'll get their information to you. If I don't know if they're going to pick it up or ship. We haven't worked that part out.
No, we are going to ship it anyway, and it will be all offered by me. No problem.
Wonderful. Okay, so congratulations, people, and thank you everybody for hanging out with us today. Sorry for, as usual, going a little bit long. Tune in tomorrow, because we're going to be launching our episode 19, which was our interview with Sammy Mackey from Matrix India. And that episode is going to go live on Blue Cap Productions YouTube channel sometime tomorrow. And tune in next week and Eloise, maybe you can spotlight my camera, please. There we go. There's Sammy. So Sammy's episode is going to go live tomorrow. Watch the Facebook and Instagram post from Blue Cap Productions and Mineral Talks Live to see when that actually goes off live. And that was actually aired on October 7th. So that's a fun one. Tune in next week, this exact same time. We're going to have Gail and Jim Spann, private collectors from Dallas, Texas, on our show. And we're going to go through their incredible home museum there. And so from all of us here at Mineral Talks Live, thank you for joining us. Emanuele, thank you so much for sharing everything. Big hugs to you and to Brother Brice over there.
Thank you. Please come. Well, I really thank you for the opportunity of making this webinar and live talk with the surprise of the guest Brice. That is stuck here for already like 12 days, I think.
Yeah.
He has a new family anyway.
Every night I had to apologize to Emanuele's girlfriend. Okay, I'm here again for dinner. I'm sorry.
No problem. We will trade it for something in Mauritius. Easy.
Yeah. Anyway, you have
well, Brice, I think the problem is you keep trying to snuggle with him in bed at night. And so you're not allowed to do that.
Sorry?
I think the problem is you keep trying to snuggle up with Emanuele every night in bed. And so I think that's where the problem comes. So maybe you should stop.
There's an alarm in his room. So if I get in, I'm in trouble.
Emanuele, we have some
questions.
Very interesting.
Sure.
Some of them. I am sorry, many of our attendees have to go, but if you have a few minutes, can we go through?
Yes, sure. Most welcome.
Great. So From Benjamin, what chemicals, acids, redox agents do you use in this work? Are there some of that you are used more often than others?
Well, I would say that we have some standard procedures that are involving the classic redox processes to remove the iron stain, etc., etc. But time to time, we do have to use some specific processes with different chemicals in order to process some extremely sensible or sensible specimens. So there is a standard procedure that anyway we have to modify and evaluate whenever we start the process on each specimen, let's say. Okay.
So you use chemicals sometimes, not just trimming.
Yes, we do use chemicals. Yes.
Okay. Another question. It appears that the color in some of the finished specimens in the video was very blue. I believe that might have been the celestite. Is that related to the, and then sometimes it look more grayish. Is that related to the lighting or?
Yes. Yes. Today lights in the cabinet have, let's talk about quickly about the lighting of the cabinet. We are now facing the new technology of LEDs. LEDs have a very wide spectrum of light, okay? And they classified three standard, spectrum, that is warm, natural, and cold. Each of these spectrums gives a different result in terms of color on the same specimen. So one celestite you put under the warm light has one color, under the natural light has a more realistic color, and under a cold light it has oversaturated in blue. Okay, so it looks like more blue. The real color is the one that you see outside, most likely. Okay, outside in the natural environment. But I would say that the technology is improving very quickly, and the results of the mystification of the colors in the cabinet is going to disappear probably very soon, okay? Because the LED lights technology is improving like insane and very, very fast.
Thank you. The treatments that you walk us through, can you address the limits of filling chips in tourmaline specimens?
What do you mean? Sorry, I didn't understand. Can you repeat, please?
When you address the limits of filling chips in tourmaline specimens.
Okay. Basically, which is the limit of the restorations on the tourmaline, okay? Well, this is an important topic, important aspect that I've been already discussing with some other people. And I usually give maximum volume of restoration that is probably about 5% overall. Okay, so I'm not into making huge restorations. Okay, there is a limit to everything. If you will have a specimen that is 50% plastic or whatever you use for making restoration, then leave it. Okay, it doesn't make sense. So, or you leave
what about a tip of the crystal? Does that make any difference?
A restoration is a restoration. Doesn't matter if it is on the tip or if it is on the prism or whatever. Of course, if the crystal doesn't have a damaged tip, but is missing entirely the tip, this is very borderline. If
this is a gray area.
If some clients requires this kind of restorations, I say, well, you are the client, I'll do it, but I have a certification of the specimen and of the work done that says that the tip is entirely restored. Because of any important piece that I process, of any piece that I process in the laboratory, and especially when I have to do repairs and restore, I have for each piece a file that shows where are located the repairs and the restorations, and describes the works most likely. Okay, and the collector or the dealer receive a copy of the statement of the works.
But as a
Emanuele, I think
service for
that's-
dealers, you do what they ask you to do, but you have no control over whether or not they disclose what, if any, repairs have been done, correct?
Yes, exactly. This was something that I faced. This was a problem for my ethic that I faced many years ago. I was doing some works, and some of my clients were not disclosing these works to the final clients.
Mm.
And then, of course, they were, once the collector went home and faced that there was something wrong, of course, he was calling back the dealer. And then the dealer was calling back to me and said, you didn't tell me. I said, no, wait a second. This is the picture. This is the message. This is the email. I told you the piece was restored. And you asked me for the restoration. So I am okay. You did wrong. Okay. And this is a very important aspect that everybody, this is a general consideration. Okay. We have to modify our way of understanding minerals, in my opinion, and accept repairs and restoration, because otherwise we will lose a lot of specimens. Okay. It's on the side of a dealer, the duty to undisclose the things. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So nowadays, most likely everybody does it. Okay. So because there is no more the trick that you make a little restoration that is invisible and the dealer, this is no repair, no restore. This is no longer happening, most likely for the 99, let's say, % of the situation is not happening anymore. But anyway, to prevent any issues, I always give the certification of the work and the statement, etc., etc. And whenever someone asks me for some specification, if I am in the scenario, in the situation that I can forward information, I will do.
And Emanuele, do you think that we're going to come up like the gem markets to actually have to deliver a certificate for each piece? Like high-end piece, at least, because that's what's happening in the gem market. Most of the gems had something done to them.
Okay.
And this goes when you do a certificate. So do you think we're going to come up to that at some point?
Well, this is what I'm doing already since some years. We have to make a general consideration. Some works are very expensive to be done on a specimen, okay, because repairs and restoration is expensive, okay. So to go through a repairs and restore process, we have to decide money-wise what is going to be the value of the specimen, okay? Because if you have a specimen that is worth 2,000-3,000, it's not worth to spend maybe the same amount of money to make it, to repair and to restore. Even though there are some clients that are asking me and are willing to pay that kind of money to make some works, okay? Even though the specimen is old, because they like it, okay? So let's say that I divided into two classes, into two categories, the specimens that I'm working. The high-end specimens that are very, very valuable and is worth to spend a lot of money on them to repair, and commercial stuff like wholesale or commercial material. For the high-end material, I give and I would say there is not the need to ask for the set. I give it anyway. It's part of the work. For the commercial material, due to the fact that the works are more expensive time to time than the value of the rocks, we don't do the works and we don't give any certification because it's not required, because we don't do anything like that. But to reply to give the final reply to Eloise, we are already at this stage. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Emanuele, to be so open about it. Thanks.
Most welcome.
So do we have any other questions from our viewers for Emanuele while we still have him on the line?
Yeah, and kind of along the same lines, do you agree that the visible saw cut reduced the value of a specimen?
The visible, excuse me?
Like if the piece was cut and then you can see that it was repaired, does it reduce the value of the specimens if the piece has been restored? That's probably what.
Well, we have to start from the beginning. Okay, if we wouldn't have had the chance to put together, for example, a beautiful tourmaline specimen that, of course, it has been repaired and restored, we couldn't have it. Okay, so in my opinion, the conservative work that we do on a specimen is a way to have the specimen entirely and with us. Okay, so in my opinion, repairs and restore work, repaired and restored specimen doesn't have a different value than because it would not exist anyway. Okay, so the value that we give to repair specimen, that's the value. I can say is that unrepaired and unrestored tourmalines or in general specimen are extremely rare, and saying that we have a fixed point of the prices of repaired and restored specimens, the not repaired and the not repaired specimens are one step above. Okay, so I would say that the value of a repaired specimen is the same, is not affected by the repairs and the restore. The value of a not repaired and not restored specimen is much higher. Okay, is in another level. That's it. So is the not repaired and not restored specimen that increase the value, because I keep as a fixed point the repaired and the restored specimen as a value. Okay.
Well, it's a bit of a sliding scale too, because if you have an unrepaired specimen that's the best of its species known as an unrepaired piece, it's at this level. But then you have another piece that's repaired, but because of the repair, it's so visually fantastic that it kind of competes with this. That gap between the two levels gets more and more narrow as we move into the future and as techniques like yours improve.
Yes. It gets narrow and narrow and narrow. But in the actual market situation, the unrepaired and unrestored specimen have let's say they increased a lot the market value, and let's say that the standard price, for example, if we think about tourmalines, 99% of the tourmalines are repaired and restored, and whenever you have something that is on matrix and not repaired and not restored, is unique almost. Okay, so
right,
the price pays the unicity. So we have to give the price to Mother Nature, Yes. Like for example,
Raquel, are there any other questions?
Yeah, one example. One example is the autunite on tourmaline specimen that is on the cover of the MinRec, and also the one that I have here. These are unrepaired. The autunites are unrepaired. Okay, the cover one is either repaired as one repair. Okay, just the tourmaline that is on the side tourmaline. But think about the unicity of that piece. The autunites are not repaired. Okay, so this is one time.
One more question if you have time.
Yes.
And is can you restore the iridescence of specimens that they were iridescent when acquired but fade over decades? He's particularly interested on sphalerite and bornite.
No, with the term restoration, with the terminology restoration, we are talking about a filling of a hole that has been created by a damage or a lack of material during the ages. Okay, so the iridescency of a specimen is not a restoration, but might be just a chemical reaction. Okay, on the surface of the mineral. So if it lost the iridescency, is because he needed to lose the iridescency. Or maybe was stored in the wrong place with the wrong humidity, or or maybe has been brushed and cleaned with some aggressive soaps or basics, and the iridescency went away. Or maybe the iridescency was just a thin layer on top of a very, very thin layer of mud or something else that was not visible from our eye, and with the quick wash, poof, disappeared. There are many motivation why the iridescency disappeared. But with chemicals, we might be able to put it back, but then it's a fake iridescency,
Okay. I think that covers 89% of the questions, which are really, I think, more. So I think we are really overdone. But thank you so much for your time today, Emanuele.
I'm most welcome, and I'm very happy to be a guest of Mineral Talk Live.
All right, Emanuele, thank you again so much. Really was a great show. I think we had more Q&As on this show than I've seen on many of the other shows. So a lot of questions out there. So, hey, maybe you're going to get a bunch of emails. So I'm sure you'd be happy to answer them.
Of course. Well, thank you for everything, and thank you for everybody. And I hope to talk to you guys soon. And I hope to have another evening maybe in the nearby future to discuss other things.
Yeah, no, we hope to see you soon, brother. All right, everybody, take care. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Ciao. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Emanuele. Thank you, Brice.
Ciao.